Welcome back to the Muddy River Tactical Podcast. I am your host, Kyle Mason, joined today by my brother, the owner of the company, Kevin Mason. We do not have Brett with us today. He has got foundation issues and he is wrapping his basement, and we decided we need to shoot a podcast instead of becoming professional ditch diggers, so we're out here today.
I didn't want my name in the middle of why his wife was complaining of why his house was still dug up and walls exposed, so it's better he just works on his house, and we'll take care of this today.
Yeah, I've got one at home. I definitely don't need another one, but we kind of do because they're all on the same group text anyway, so whatever I do, I'm sure you hear about, or vice versa.
Well, speaking of group text, are you on the one today?
I kind of might ignore them. I might not. I don't want to say it.
We're on like 815 texts today, so.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah, and thanks, by the way, for making us all look bad, butthole.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
So this clown, he goes and gets on there and says, "Hey, babe, I'm taking you for a weekend. Have your bags packed and ready to go." And all this gets put on a group text with all the other husbands that go on vacation together. So now I'm going to get home and Michelle's going to be twiddling her thumbs being like, "Where are we going?"
Well, in my defense.
Oh, shit.
Okay,
here we go.
Okay. So let's do a short version of my defense here. She works every other weekend. I've been on the tractor for about the last 3 weeks. I'm still not done. I'm still going to finish this weekend, or this week before we leave. So we don't get very much time without kids ever anyways. And then when she's working every other weekend, so I'm taking her for the weekend. And we were supposed to have a barbecue with friends of ours in this quote-unquote group text we're talking about. And I said, we won't make it. And now it's a big, I'm the a-hole guy.
Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah.
That's pretty much how
So dear listeners, my brother just proved my point. And if you'd like to thank him for it, you can thank him. And, just don't get any group text with him and you'll be all right. So I do got to say, when I was up at your house the other day, I stole some of your secret crappie coordinates out of your GPS. And I tell you, I went there and I caught more fish than I've ever caught in my life. And just for our listeners, I'm gonna put this out here. I'm gonna put your secret crappie hole on blast. So if you got a pin, or you can rewatch this, it'll be good. It's a latitude 39.120858. Longitude negative 94.815249.
And I don't even know where that is, but I'm sure probably some fish there.
Now, I will tell you, it does not matter what bait you throw there. You will catch a fish. I mean, you could catch a bass. You could catch a channel.
Is that the coordinates to Petco or something?
Well, I'm telling you, a listener, I'm sure some of our listeners have wanted to fish this hole before, and the first listener that sends in a picture of them at your fishing hole, we'll send them a shirt or something. So,
okay.
So
I'll be as surprised as they are.
Kevin's secret spot put on blast for our listeners. So we like to do stuff for the community once in a while.
Yeah.
So today, this episode is brought to you by War Horses for Veterans. Last 2 episodes, we had Brett from War Horses on, talked about his backstory, talked about a little bit of the stuff they do. And then we were on site at War Horses for our last episode. And if you guys haven't seen that, definitely check it out. Really cool facility, great organization. They do a lot of stuff for veterans, first responders at no cost to those people. So definitely check out WHFV, warhorsesforveterans.com. They have a big derby party. It's their biggest annual fundraiser. That's coming up on May 4th. So check it out. Take 3 minutes, go over. Really, it's neat stuff to look at. Even if you don't plan on donating, go check them out. And it just kind of brings some hope to your heart for some of the good that's going on.
Even their shirts and stuff. You're wearing one of their shirts. They got some cool shirts and apparel stuff. Just go check them out. We're going to be working with them quite a bit. They're going to be one of the title sponsors for the podcast, just to help them help us in a way. And just the more we can help the people that they contribute to, the better off everybody will be.
Definitely. And the nice thing was, like we talked about, and I really have talked to multiple people about since we've been there, is that it's no cost to the participants. So there's not a monetary barrier for people who need this help to go get it, which is a great thing, because a lot of people might not have insurance or access to therapy or all of these things, and they can get all of that out there. So definitely check out WHFV.com, or you can give them a call, email, whatever. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about our new appendix holster, which we call the Frontier series. Kevin's got one of them here. We are super proud of this. It's got a lot of really cool features that we'll talk about. We don't want to make it a sales video, but we are excited about it. We do get quite a few questions about it right now, so we're going to answer a few of those. We're going to talk about product review today, which is really cool. We got in these Grizzly blinds, which I hadn't heard of them until we got them in, but I am super impressed with them. It's, for those of you who may not know, one of the biggest brand names everybody knows is like a redneck tower blind. And Muddy makes them, and a lot of companies make them, but these are really cool. We have them up at our gun shop now, so we'll talk about those a little bit.
Yeah. You can look and see all the different ones on the market. We won't name any of them after this point. We're talking about differences, but definitely look at the differences between them. I have some of the quote unquote top of the line competitor blinds that are all going to be switched out to these. So if you got kids into hunting and stuff, they're amazing for that. And just they'll ruin a guy.
Well, and the way they're built, like you look at these things are built for a lifetime. I mean, not to get, I guess we can just talk about them now since we're kind of already on it, might as well. Yeah. These are made by the people that make Grizzly coolers. And, Yeti got popular 15, 20 years ago for being grizzly bear proof and all this.
Roto molded coolers.
Roto molded.
Yeah. It's a hard one to say.
They're badass coolers, okay? Yeah. It's the coolers that keep ice for, 12 weeks in, the Sahara Desert.
Time, yeah.
But these blinds are one piece molded. There's no seams in them. So they're built like these high-end coolers. Grizzly actually started as a cooler company, and they took that same technology and put it in a blind. So you think about the stability and the structure that your cooler has, plus the insulation value, and then put that into a blind. And let's face it, most of the time when you're sitting there, it's 25 degrees outside. And especially like the later season you get in there. But even for early season, they got vent kits, windows. The ones I really like are their Alpha Combo blinds. And you can go to their website and check them out, or you can check them out here at the shop. But they've got the windows on all the corners, so you can archery hunt out of them. You can rifle hunt. They've got the doors. They come with the 8-foot platform on them already, or is that a separate?
It's a separate piece. So unlike some of the competitors, one of the main difference in them is the windows are far superior. They got the same type of seals as you'd see in these coolers, so they seal well, keeps bugs, flies. Anybody that's hunted out of blinds knows you go from summer, there'll be a swarm of flies and everything in them. This doesn't have those problems. The window hinges are way better than everything on the market. They're friction, so they stop wherever you stop.
Oh, do they really?
Whereas some of them, you got to pull the string and put the string in. Well, the whole point of the blind is so that you're not silhouetted in it. Well, when your hands are out at the window going this to get a window up, that doesn't do you any good. So that eliminates that. They have their own base on them. So the competitor blinds are just plastic or fiberglass, whichever competitor it is you're talking about, with no support on the bottom. It relies on the support of something else, which then makes the floors creak and different things like that. These are fully supported by themselves. So they make kits where you can put them on the tower. They have their tower kits. You can set them directly on a trailer, put 4x4 posts in them, whatever you wanted to do.
So in layman's terms, this thing is, it's like a cooler. It's like you take that solid one-piece cooler, have windows in it, make it big enough to put a human in, and that's what you're hunting out of. They are super nice. And to speak on, the flies in the windows, I was in one of your competitor brand blinds just yesterday, and we got ran out of there by flies.
Same difference, yeah.
And we had turkeys come out, and to try and get that window open with the turkeys, it was a nightmare, and they ended up spooking off, and it was a whole ordeal.
It's like anything, and I'm really pushing on them more just because I'm a huge fan of them, and whether we sell any of them locally at our shop or not, I at least I want people to see the differences in them, because being a small business ourselves, we know how marketing works. You take XYZ competitor that's got a $3 million a year marketing budget, they can get their name out there way more than some people can. 9 out of 10 times their product is far behind everybody else's. What I've found a lot of times when the marketing budget is that high, they've cut corners somewhere else. And these have not done that. So just try to bring it to people's attention. And I've hunted all my life, but now we've got 3 kids, and my youngest especially super into it. I have a kid with me pretty much anytime I go hunting, and it's just a game changer for that atmosphere.
Well, and the idea is to make it enjoyable. We've all sat there and froze and spent all day out freezing.
Or how many times do we sit with Dad? Don't move, don't touch.
Oh, yeah.
And these things, you can get by with some of that where you can keep the kids interested in it.
And Dad, when he was alive, and speaking of which, it's 2 years today
That's
that
crazy.
he passed away, and it does not seem like 2
Crazy how
years.
time flies, yeah.
But, he'd be like, they don't need to be on their phone or their tablet out there. Well, they didn't have phones, but they had tablets or their Game Boy. I'm like, Dad, if they're in the woods and I can get them to pay attention for 15 minutes and then they take an hour break, I don't care. You're building up the time because it's not 1957 anymore. Yeah. And even for me, I'm 41, but I don't like freezing anymore. That's why I don't go to the Chiefs games when it's 8 degrees outside. I don't like being cold. So
well, and as much as I just like the serenity of getting away, but in the hunting season is our busy time of year. Mm-hmm. So it's not very conducive to hunt too much. But in those blinds, I'll take my computer about 9 out of 10 times, and I can do emails and stuff I need to do while still being there and enjoying it. It's not the same, but at least it gets me out there.
Yeah, without a doubt. You're in different wind conditions and stuff like that. They've got carbon fiber kits that go in the vents on them, so you're not going to get winded.
They got more stuff to them than I think you would even need, but it's super cool for the diehard guys. They got everything you can absolutely think of on there, and they're far superior to anything on the market. They just obviously don't have the marketing budget that everybody else has, so that's where we're trying to help them there.
And their price point is pretty in line with everybody else. And for me,
they're barely higher, but so if you took them on side by side, like on the internet, and you looked at a competitor blind next to one of these, just from pictures, you can't tell a bunch of difference. You put 2 side by side, like anybody local to us, come to the shop and look at them. We have a high-end competitor blind sitting there, which is for sale too, because we're getting rid of it to switch all of ours to these Grizzlies. But we put it there for the purpose of just seeing how much more you're getting. These Grizzlies are about $300 or $400 more, but they're probably double the product easily.
And before we get too far, I know we got people that'll listen. The promo code MRT podcast will not work on those. It's just we don't have enough margin in there to give you 15% off. I would love to, but it's just going to be one of those items that, we're not making a fortune selling.
Well, it's a super hard product because you got the freight in with it. You got the moving it,
right.
It's just, there's a lot to it. So they have an uphill battle there. But I think the people locally that see them, or even if you're not local to us, check them out and see if anybody local to you does have them, because you will see a huge difference in what you're getting for your money.
For sure. And after seeing them, I would drive. If I was in Wichita and couldn't get one, I would drive up here to get one of these before.
100%.
And,
if you look at it, the average guy's going to need, 1, maybe 2 for the average place. I mean, in the long, yes, it's still a lot of money, but when you figure your kids, it will still be there when they have kids. Long term, the investment's really not that much.
Well, and really for a lot of guys too. I mean, I would be careful recommending anybody to trailer anything down the highway without having it inspected. But moving it around your property, you could go get a $1,500 trailer and put this blind on there and be in it $5,500.
Yeah, or probably. A lot of guys, if you're on a farm, like find an old hay wagon or something that's got bent, or the axle's bent, and throw an axle under it. Those are awesome because deer are used to seeing stuff around. And literally, if you just leave it around, you can move it through the whole hunting season. And before I really got big into hunting out of them, I'm like, I'm a hang-on hunting, bow hunting guy. I'm like, there is no way that deer's going to walk. I shot a 170-inch deer, literally was at the ladder of a blind that had been there 2 days. And after that, I'm like,
Yeah.
The scent elimination and stuff you get out of them is way more important than they don't care about that blind any more than anything.
Well, and it lets you hunt on those rainy and nasty days when you don't want to. Well, we were just talking about this morning. You got Raven crossbows that are $2,500 for like that SIG rifle, $1,200. do you really want to go out and with a $2,000 weapon and getting in the rain? I mean, none of us are Navy SEALs, and the government's not buying your weapon.
Yeah, you're not getting a new one when you come back.
So, just from that aspect, getting kids out there all around, they are really nice. So we've got that. A couple things around the shop I wanted to talk about too. And again, we're not making a big old sales pitch, but we do have I forget the brand name. Domain food plot seeds in now, and we've got all sorts of them. We got licks, we've got mineral, we've got.
Yep. So that's the same thing, and that's just local only, just because shipping will eat you alive on that stuff. But we're a huge proponent of getting kids outdoors and hunting and stuff, which is more my focus in hunting any more than me. I'm doing a ton of work around the farm, but to make the hunting better for the kids is what it really comes down to. But the food plot seed, they're super down-to-earth dudes. No, they're small business, doing it right, not putting fillers in their seed. It's good stuff, so we decided to
a lot of that
bring
stuff.
on.
Because I'd go down to like the farmer's co-op and get seed for a while, because when you go to Walmart or big box store, you're getting it and it's a bunch of like grass seed, and like so you get brassicas.
There's more filler in them than anything, and that's the problem. Like you'll get the argument, guys going, "Oh, I can go to wherever and get seed for an eighth of that price." Well, yeah, but you're probably having to put 8 times that to make up for what's actually seed and what's filler in it. And it's just like anything. It's all how serious you want to take it. If you have no equipment, no nothing, and want to go do food plots and aren't going to put the fertilizer and stuff on it anyways, it's really not going to matter, because you can only grow a crop so good depending on what's in the ground.
Sure.
So, I mean, you're, in theory, being a small farmer, so it's not, there's some quote-unquote throw-and-go mixes that do work, but they're never going to be the full potential, per se, either.
Yeah, and that may be something we look at trying to get those guys on. I'm sure they'd give us a crash course and tell us stuff we don't know about.
Absolutely.
Food plots and seed and all that. The last other bit, and I was shocked by this, 2-day wait time on suppressors right now.
Yeah, suppressors are going absolutely crazy in our storing and across the country. The lead times forever, which I got suppressors, I like suppressors, but when it was a 12, 13 month lead time, I wasn't in that big of a hurry to go pay money to, by the time it got here, I forgot what I was getting.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And that held a lot of people back. Well, we have the kiosks in the gun shop, so you can do your fingerprints, everything there. They're coming back in sometimes less than 2 days. We had one back in like 26 hours or something. I mean, just ungodly fast for what it has been.
And you'd think they'd get a database to a certain point at some point in time where they're like, look, Kevin's bought 12 of these. Yeah, he's good. The newer people should theoretically take a little bit longer, but I know they probably run the same check every time on everybody.
Well, the more you have, they probably worry about you more.
Oh, that's true too. Like
what Ron White say, the satellites are linking in outer space and all the Morse code, all that.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the one. He's like, I didn't know how many it'd take to whoop my ass, but I knew how many they were going to use.
Yeah, that's a handy piece of information.
Yep, that's my favorite of his. All right, so kind of key point today on this week's episode is going to be our Frontier holsters. We went with Frontier because it's kind of dual meaning. You wear it on the front, but you can wear it anywhere. And, the Frontier, we're Muddy River, and we're trying to forge a new way to do stuff that people are doing. So not just follow what everybody's doing. And
we're trying to improve the market, where forever I think the market has just gone off of each other and made the same thing over and over again, which in turn, I mean, this isn't completely new, but using new systems and new things cost us more money, but give the end user a way better product, versatility, and things that they don't get in others.
Yeah, when we were coming up on designing these, and we had meetings and talks about this, and we're like, what do we want to put in there? Well, from day one, a hinge was one of the things I wanted. I hated the paracord. It's cheap. People do it because of that. But it's not going to be as durable. The holster kind of clicks and rattles and rubs together. It's never going to stay true. So that was a big thing we had to figure out. Finding hinges that are the right size, finding the right manufacturer, the right material, the right durability. You can imagine there's 12,000 different hinges you can find on the internet. but it's not something I would want to carry every day or you would want to carry every day.
And the issue for the hinges are, for this, it takes a special hinge because it needs to be as strong as a big hinge, but without that footprint. And what you'll find on the hinge market is you can find some in the size that we wanted, which that's the size we need right there. This is a super heavy duty hinge, but it doesn't weigh or add bulk. But you can do anything to this hinge and it's not breaking. Literally, you will break that screw head off before that hinge breaks. So that's what we wanted. There is a couple, and I'll give a shout out to one of them, T-Rex Arms. They make holsters. That they have a bar down theirs, which they were revolutionary doing that on theirs. And they have their concept open because those guys are super cool about helping improve the market, like what we're talking about. You know, they do so many holsters, you're never going to hurt them in their holster business. They do well.
Right.
But it's that evolving. The problem I didn't like and never did like with it, which I still think it was above everybody else's at that time, but that metal rod was going through Kydex. So yes, it's a metal rod, but it's only as strong as a Kydex.
Right.
And we all know Kydex has its limitations. So going to a hinge, it allows us to use the screws with the strength we want. You can tighten them, adjust them, move them, take them on and off easy. But they're also not going through just Kydex. They're going through rivets. So it's as strong as that rivet is in the Kydex. So it adds, I don't know, I bet it's 50 times the strength of if you just put Kydex compared to a rivet through it.
The other thing, there's two other things that I like about that. From a manufacturing standpoint, and I'm not sure what process they do to get that bend around that rod, but it's a highly complex folding process.
Yeah, the machine's just cutting it, and then they're just bending it that way.
Yeah. So you got that, but you've also got where these screws are. If you don't want to run this sidecar, the magazine holder, you can take this off completely, and you can mount another clip in these holes, which narrows the footprint down even more versus having your hinge. If we were going to have a hinge mechanism farther out, you'd have to have holes here, which makes it even wider. So we've got this super narrow. It's super thin. It's thinner than even our insides, not by a bunch, but because they're not folded and they're all riveted together, it's a two-piece shell that gets riveted together. It's actually thinner than our inside the waistband holsters. So yeah, we've had guys wearing them at 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, appendix, no matter what holster you're talking about, is a niche market. It's not. There's never going to be 80% people appendix carrying. That's not how that works. You know, it takes a special person to appendix carry, all the way from body type to training to confidence. There's a lot of things that go in that. So we wanted to have a holster for those people because they've been asking for it for years. And we finally came up with a design that we were comfortable putting our name on and what we wanted. But with that, we didn't want to give up the versatility. So me personally, I will appendix carry sometimes, but not all the time. So for me personally, I would buy this holster. First of all, you have to buy it all together. It's not a separate thing.
Right.
It comes all together, but within 2 screws, you take this off and put this clip here. I would be 10 times more likely to carry this and carry, even if you're carrying an appendix carry, but you could take this and have the versatility to carry it anywhere you want.
And when you talk about your price point, you know, with the extra mag holder, and the mag holder, like all of our mag holders, has the pressure plate in there. So it's got adjustable retention on your magazine. Some people like it tighter, some people like it looser. You can make your mag ride higher or lower by moving it up in these holes. But you take it off, and like you said, you've already got your clips. You've got everything you need all in one package.
Yeah, I mean, it's the ultimate versatility. You could buy this and not even be an appendix guy and put a clip here and carry this anywhere you wanted to, put them together if you wanted to. I mean, it's really a do-it-all holster in a way.
And really, when you look at the cost of it, you know, what are we selling these for right now?
$129.
$129.99. So you take the upgrades and the options we have in here. We've got a hinge that's $5, $6, $7 hinge.
Yeah, that's when you're buying 10,000 of them. They're that much. If you go try to buy one, you're about $28 in a hinge.
So you've got an expensive hinge in there. They come with the claw. That's a $10 upgrade on all of our other holsters.
It's built into the design. Like as you can see here, it's not on the outside of that. It's built into how we make the retention and everything work.
Everything we did was to make it slim, concealable, comfortable, where there's the least bulk in there to make it as comfortable as it possibly can be.
And so that the claw doesn't move at all. It's got the 2 screws. Well, it's easier to show you on the back. The 2 bottom screws hold the claw, and that's it. The top screw is what does your retention adjustment.
Yep.
So now, like on some holsters, when you loosen the retention, your claw will move a little bit, which is not a bad thing at all. I want to stop and talk about that for a minute because we get questions all the time of my claw moves a little bit. To me, I like my claw to move a little bit because there's nothing on your body, your pants that doesn't move when you bend.
Right.
So if this is the only stationary part and your pants are moving and it to me, it doesn't work as well. So there's people that we know and talk to that even will loosen these, even though you don't have to, just so it gives it a little bit of movement for that reason.
Yep.
So I just want to point that out to people that are going to say it moves or whatever. In theory, in the ideal world, you want it to a little bit. But doing it this way, we give you that option to, you can make it move a little bit if you want or make it 100% stationary.
Yeah, and the nice thing, too, we've taken, I won't say every inch of rock out of there, but there's almost no rock to the firearm in this holster, too, because the way we have it engineered, it wraps the trigger guard as well. We've got a little bit of room where we can wrap it here. Everything, like I said, is made right to it. It's got your click retention, just like all of the other Kydex holsters, well, non-light bearing Kydex holsters have.
Yeah.
So you've got all of that built into it. You got your clips, your hardware. If you take a standard holster and add a magazine carrier on it, you're almost at what the cost of this appendix is anyway.
Really close to begin with, yeah.
And it's something, it might be something, yeah. Do you want to carry appendix right now? No, but you can work your way up to it. It gives you just tons of versatility to try different carry styles, different positions. I know we get the email about the guy saying you're going to shoot your package off with an appendix. The trigger guard is completely covered. If you shoot yourself with the thing in this holster, it would be a miracle because everything's covered, everything's concealed.
And not just our holsters. This is a market thing. It don't matter what holster company you see. You see somebody post somebody appendix carrying, and it's always, not to discriminate or whatever, it's always the older know-it-all guys. Mm-hmm. I'll just leave it that way. They're like, you're going to shoot yourself. So I had a conversation with a guy until he got blocked because he didn't know how to shut his mouth. He goes, you're just risking shooting yourself the more you leave that on. I'm like, well, first of all, you can't get your finger to the trigger. Or he said about keep your finger off the trigger while it's in the holster. I go, well, first of all, that's easy because you can't get your finger to the trigger while it's in the holster anyways. And second of all, if you put your finger on the trigger while it's in your pants, you are the reason you shot yourself, not the holster.
Well, wherever you carry this thing, it is equally as safe whether you carry it at 3, 6, 9, 12 o'clock. You can carry it in your sock, and it's just as, safe to carry the gun in there. Now, I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, your booger hook is your biggest safety, and some of these guys don't realize that. And I'm not saying appendix carries for everybody, but you can shoot yourself doing a lot of things. But if you shoot yourself, 99.999% of the time it's because you did something ignorant and you don't train enough to realize you did something ignorant.
Yeah, without a doubt. And kind of going back to the way we engineered these, Brett that's on here, he's not a small guy and he's been wearing one around, liking it quite a bit. We've been getting a lot of honest feedback from some people we know that we've given them out to, and so far everybody I've heard seems to like them pretty well.
And honestly, that's what took so long, because to get enough feedback, you got to give it to people that are in that market. So you can give this to somebody that's not ever appendix carry, never going to be an appendix carry person, and they're never going to give you the feedback you need. You need it to people that use it that way. And that's what we've done. We gave it out to people, tried all sorts of things, changed things. At the end of the day, it's still an appendix carry holster, so it's not a cure-all to miraculously appendix carry holsters for everybody now. That's not how that works. But if you can appendix carry any holster, this will make it better.
And another thing on our tuckable clips here that we have, these have 5 different screw holes in them. So you can move this up and down multiple slots on either side. So you can adjust cant if that's something you're wanting to do or not.
Cant and ride height. I'd say the biggest thing of why appendix carry isn't comfortable for a lot of people is because they try to make the gun ride too low, and then it's in their pinch point. So they're thinking of when they're doing it as, well, it gets it off my stomach. Well, that's fine until you go to bend, and then it's right in the bend point. If you have it raised up a little bit, it puts the grip and the gun more in line with your torso itself, which then bends with your torso instead of being in the pinch point. So ride height and pant ride height is the biggest factor in making appendix carry work.
For sure. And if you decide you're going to go appendix carry, definitely, like we talk about everything else, get your holster, wear it around, get comfortable with it before you go wear it around the house. Take it to the range, train with it, do all these same things, even if you've been carrying, at 3 o'clock or, 5 o'clock forever with the different holsters. Still train with this one, get the feel for it, know how it is to get in and out of your car or sit down or do all these different things while wearing this holster.
And that's the cool thing about this. If somebody buys this wanting to get into appendix carry and they just can't, because it's not for everybody. There's no cure-all for that. Any company that comes up with a cure-all for that will be the best holster company in the world, but it's just not a feasible thing to do. But if you buy this and can't pull it off after trying and adjusting, you still got a very viable holster, and in my opinion, a superior holster already, just by taking this off and wearing it anywhere you would an IWB Kydex holster. And then you got a mag holster you could wear independently as well.
Yeah, and the cool thing, too, and you can kind of see, this thing will fold all the way back in on itself, too, which, everybody ends up having a holster in a drawer. This hardly takes up any room. That, and it will go adapt to any body style, any curve, how you breathe. It flexes, so it's not...
we had a guy buy one, and even though I don't recommend it, he wore the whole thing at 3 o'clock, which, whatever, to each their own, but you could do it because it's going to bend that way too. So if you for whatever reason want to do that, you can do that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And once we release this, I saw there's one other company that has a hinge, but it's nowhere near the hinge that we have on there. And like I said, T-Rex has got their rod in there, which is a different take on the same idea. But all in all, we're super happy with the way this turned out. And really, once you feel the way the firearm fits in there, they're second to none. All of our holsters fit good, but if there was a ideal fit, these are coming out with it so far.
100%. When there's two pieces like that, and the machine's cutting them, they're way less room for air. On an IWB Kydex holster, even though the machine's cutting them, we still have to fold them. How they fold affects more of the fitment than anything.
Which, we get into a little secret sauce here. That's kind of one of the issues that you always have folding, is it's up to the guy folding it, to make it good, which is why having the actual firearm there to fold it off of matters, because the fold makes or breaks an inside or a Kydex single piece holster. This takes almost every single variable out of it, so it's even more consistent than some of our best ones before.
Yeah, unless the machine just gets out of whack somehow and the operator does not realize it for whatever reason, there's really nothing that can affect it.
Yep. And just looking at it now, all the screws on here, we've moved to Phillips head screws, so you don't need some weird size Allen key to take it on or off.
That was a hard change, because me personally, I like the Allens better.
I do too.
But the buyers as a whole don't always have Allen wrenches there, or if they need to adjust it somewhere. That's why we switched to Phillips. People just wanted an easy, everybody have one thing, so that's why we switched to Phillips, and we have been for the last year or so.
Yeah, and that's something too. If somebody really likes those Allen keys, they could switch out their screw heads for Allen key screws really easy. They're standard thread, Chicago screw.
And while we're talking about hardware, I say this to everybody on the phone all the time. We do not put Loctite on these screws from the factory. The reason is we want you to be able to move and adjust these. That's the whole point of having versatility. If we put Loctite on these and then you can't move it, it doesn't do you any good. So with that said, after you adjust this holster, or you don't adjust the holster and you know, that's exactly how I want it, put Loctite on the female side of these screws where it Loctites them in there, and then you'll never have to worry about it.
And it's the blue Loctite. I forget the number, but it's the Loctite blue.
Just blue Loctite.
Okay. Excellent. So we got anything else we're going to talk about on the Frontiers while we're on them?
No, I think that's most of it. We've been ungodly busy. We're going to work on getting some more videos out explaining everything and even in-depth stuff as we go. We just haven't had the time to do it yet. So those are coming. But if you have any questions that you don't know, always email us. We're always here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we talked about the Grizzly Blinds, our new food plot seed that we got in. We talked about our Frontiers. Have I told the people the quick story about the guy that came to buy my dirt bike?
I don't think so, but that's funny.
Okay. Well, for you guys listening, my youngest son during COVID, he had a birthday, and we couldn't go do anything. You know, everybody's locked down, right, wrong, indifferent. But we couldn't have a birthday party for him, and we're like, what do you want? And he's like, I want a dirt bike. And I'm like, God, Jesus. And he had one of those little electric, like, Razor dirt bikes before, and it went 8.5 miles an hour or whatever. So we get on the old Amazon and get him this 50cc little mini pit bike dirt bike. And he gets it, and right out of the gate, whiskey throttles it and goes tearing across the yard. And so from day one, my wife works for, we'll just say, a children's hospital.
She sees the aftermath
She
of all
sees
that.
kids wrecking four-wheelers and things like that all the time. So she can't even watch him on this dirt bike from day one. Well, he's got this thing for about 2 years and rode it maybe 15 times.
It scared him as much as it did his mom, I think.
And we had it down at our farm in Bolivar, and it's rough and rocky down there. And I mean, he's got safety gear and a helmet on, and it was still like watching Evel Knievel go across the hayfield.
Yeah.
So last time, 2 times ago, we're down there. His older brother tries to ride it, got whiskey throttle, went over the handlebars. And so we're about on our last leg of dirt bike. And so we're down there last time, and the pull start broke on it. I'm like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring it home. Got the pull start replaced. But I'm like, look, bud,
It's not fixable.
Yeah, this thing's, it's broke, and, we're going to let somebody who knows how to fix it buy it, and we'll look at getting you like a little Players UTV or something, coming up. So I put this thing on Facebook Marketplace, and I think I paid $400 for it 2 years ago. So I put it on there for $400, and my phone went off like a slot machine. It's just ding, 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 like nonstop for 45 minutes. And I can't even answer people fast enough asking if this thing's still available. So I'm not doing my due diligence and, kind of vetting the buyers before whatever. So I get a message, the guy's like, I got $400 cash in hand. I'll come pick it up right now. I said, it is yours, buddy. Come get it.
Yeah.
So I'm telling all these other people, whatever. And Michelle said, she's like, he knows it's a mini dirt bike, right? I was like, well, yeah, I put on the listing, pit bike, mini dirt bike, 50cc.
Well, wasn't the picture up against your truck tire?
Yeah,
too,
so my truck, I've got a black Dodge Ram that's lifted, so it's not a small truck. So my truck looks like a tank anyway, and it's on 35-inch tires with a 6-inch lift. So my truck is huge. The motorcycle is next to one of the tires on my gigantic truck. So there's no way that anyone on earth thinks this is like you're going to go ride motocross on this thing. So the guy Michelle says this to me, and the guy's coming from Blue Springs, which is like 35 minutes from my house.
At least.
So I was like, well, I'm going to message him. So it'd been like 10 minutes. So I messaged the guy, I was like, hey, just so you know, this is a mini dirt bike. I want to make sure you knew that. He's like, oh, yeah, I know. I was like, all right. So like 3 or 4 minutes goes by, and I get a message, and he asks, how many cc's is it? I was like, well, it's 50 like I told you. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, how fast does it go? I was like, man, I don't know. My kids rode it. It has no speedometer. I was like, I know going through a hayfield, it is scary fast, even with me on it. And he's like, well, but how fast? I'm like, I don't know, 30 miles an hour. Like, I'm just guessing. So he sends me a screenshot. And he's like, is it 2 or 4 stroke? I'm like, well, it's 2 stroke. He's like, well, it says they're supposed to go 60. I'm like, again, I don't know. And I'm like, the red flags are just starting to rise. Like, what's this guy asking for? And he's like, well, what kind of gas? I was like, well, you got to mix gas and oil. And you got to mix the gas
2 stroke.
Yeah, 25 to 1. It's a 2 stroke. He's like, okay. He's like, well, I have enough gas to get home. I was like, enough gas to get home? This thing's got like a half a gallon gas tank on it. I was like, well, you can't ride this on the street, right? And his response to me is like, I don't know how you're going to tell me what I'm going to do with something I just bought. I said, okay, Buckwheat, here's the deal. You will die on the highway. To get from my house to Blue Springs, there's no back road. You have to take, 169 to 70 to or 35 to 70. There's like 3 or 4 major
highways,
major interstates that people get smoked on all the time. And this thing, it's not half as tall as my 35-inch truck tire. like a 5-year-old can ride this thing. So he's like, well, I'm like 10 minutes away from your house. I'm like, all right, well, I'm telling you, you're not riding this thing out of my driveway. And he starts to get a little chirpy. I was like, this guy's going to come and get shitty in my driveway with me. So now what? I'm like, all right, here's the deal, dude. I was like, you can try and put it in the trunk of your car. And once you drive off of my property, I don't know what you're going to do or what. But, so he's like, I'll be there in a minute. So I go outside and I'm waiting there. And I wish I had video of it because you see this white car drive by and they drive by my house real slow. And I've got a roundabout just down from my house. And I was like, I bet that was them driving by. And then coming back by, you see this guy, and the dude looked just like Malibu's Most Wanted.
That's what I was picturing him. Oh, yeah.
He was B-Rad from Malibu's Most Wanted. It's with his head hanging out of the window and then sped off. I was like, all right, well, I'm guessing that was you in the white SUV and nothing. So I was like, well, at least I didn't have to get crappy with this guy. But this moron was seriously going to try and ride a 50cc dirt bike 35 minutes from my house to his. It's I guess it takes one for everybody. But
yeah, the beauties of marketplace.
Yeah. So, if you want to buy a 50cc dirt bike, unfortunately mine sold, but there's a guy in Blue Springs that doesn't have one for sale now. So,
well, on the side note here, since Brett's not here, I'm going to have to throw him under the bus. So a couple weeks ago, well, it was longer than that. I don't know. Somebody came in the gun shop locally just to meet Brett.
Nuh-uh.
So I've been giving him shit ever since. I'm going to put pictures out there and put free autographs and stuff from Brett. So
was it a male or a female?
I didn't even ask.
Wait, but here, Tabby, turn off your radio.
But what made it worse, I've been giving him crap about this for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to stop you. Did Brett tell you this, or were you there and heard it?
Brett told me.
Oh,
but Tabby was with us eating lunch, and Tabby's like, yeah, it was funny. I'm like,
I would have told no one.
So, it's too late, so I know. But the bad part is, you know how often I'm in the gun shop. Not very much.
Right.
I got stuff to do on the holster side. We had this domain seed come in that we were talking about. Brett was busy, so I was helping him get it in there. So it was in the store, not rained up, blah, 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 all that. So I'm sitting there doing seed. And you know that feeling when somebody's looking at you? The shop's full of people.
Right.
I'm letting Brett help them. And I turn around, and this guy's looking at me. He goes, "You're really him," talking to me. And I'm like, well, who are you looking for? He goes, "Man, I love you on YouTube," and all that. He watches all the YouTube stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So then he didn't want Brett to help him, so he wanted me to help him. Which fine, whatever. It's humbling, but it's funny because I'm giving Brett all this shit about autographs. So now we're gonna be like the original Pawn Stars. I guess. Yeah. So anybody local, whether don't let him know you're joking. Come in and ask him for his autograph, please, because I want to pull the video of every time in his face. Every time somebody asks him. You
know what we should do? You can get those cards printed out. We can get some of those headshots printed out. People when they go in for acting roles. We'll get those printed out. And Brett's signature on there.
Yeah. No, he's got to sign them in front of people because I want...
Oh, no, for sure. Yeah.
But so it was just funny because he didn't know what to say about it. And he messed up and told me.
Hey, and if you want your picture taken with Brett, we will gladly accommodate that too. I am in the holster shop all day.
Absolutely.
We will come over. We'll make a video. We'll go Facebook Live. We can do whatever you'd like.
First person Facebook Live of asking Brett to sign something for him.
Oh, yeah. Kyle Tyson, one of you guys, Magnuson, I don't care. Somebody come in here.
Somebody.
Don't tell Brett, though. You can't tell him because he probably won't watch
Act
this.
like you've never been in the shop ever, whether you have or not, and said, I've drove an hour and a half just to see you.
Oh, the more you butter this up, the more hats and shirts.
Yes.
We'll give you something.
We will give you a tour of the shop.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It will be well worth it.
You really got to sell it, though. And if we get 10 of you, that would be even better. Because we can make a blooper reel of this.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good idea.
So anybody that will come to the shop and listens to this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll come up with a goodie bag for you.
We need to go up to like CVS or somewhere and get some pictures that he doesn't know about.
Yeah.
That way we have some.
All right. We will do that. Oh, hey, I've got an idea. Well, I don't want Brett to know about it, but we'll talk about it offline and get these headshots.
But in all seriousness, it's cool. I give Brett a lot of shit about it just because it's funny. But it's humbling that we're just a bunch of dumbasses too. You know what I mean?
You know, the other funny thing we could do is if we get enough of this, you know how they got like the firefighter calendars? We could do like the Men of Muddy River calendar.
Oh, God.
We could get Bob over there.
We'll have every grandma in the retirement home coming over for autographs of Bob.
Oh, yeah. So, all right, y'all. As always, we thank you for listening. We have got promo code MRT Podcast for 15% off stuff in the gun shop or the website. Unfortunately, like we talked about, not the Grizzly Blinds. But you can get 15% off a badass new Frontier holster that you will love.
Holsters, apparel.
All that good stuff. Autographs of Brett are free with any purchase, so come on in and see
You come in and ask Brett for an autograph, and I get it on tape, you can have free apparel.
So we got that. We've got links to all of our major socials on the wall behind us, so you can find us anywhere online, any social platform, you can find us there. That'd be greatly appreciated. And we'd like to mention just one more time, War Horses for Veterans, WHFV.com. They have got their Derby party on May 4th. It's their big gala. They've got food, they've got booze, they've got a party. You get to see the horses, you get to meet the guys, you get to hear. I'm sure they'll have some former attendees there to talk about how it changed their life. They've got a video that will make a grown man cry, so don't listen to that in front of your friends or family or people you don't want to see you shedding a tear.
And the main thing for those guys is every dollar counts, because like we said, it's a nonprofit. To keep the horses and stuff is what really changes the people that come there. It's good people there, but the horses are the backbone of it. Well, horses are expensive, but the amount of help it does to these guys that are coming is incredible. So there's no amount too small. I mean, I think Brett said they got monthly things where you can donate them monthly, even if it's $1 a month. I mean, literally that makes a difference in organizations like this to help more people.
For sure. And they're giving those horses world-class care from vets. I mean,
and the cool thing about it is most of the horse care is donated stuff. It's, I think Purino was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
It's big people in that space that are donating stuff to help take care of the horses so that money can go to more veterans coming and stuff. So
and the other thing about these horses, I don't want to use the horses are buttholes, because they're not. These are performance horses. So before anybody feels bad about, this poor horse is getting rode, the horses dig it. This is what they are bred to do. It's like
I was waiting for that one to bite you.
He was.
He wanted to.
We get up there and Brett's like, you gotta watch him. He's a butthole. He'll bite you. So I'm like, all right. And I go like this, and he starts to go like, nope.
Kyle goes, yep, I guess he will bite.
But these horses, like you watch Cops and you see that canine in the back of the patrol car, he's ready to go. That's these horses. Like, we walk up there and every one of them came up.
That's what they want to do, yeah.
They saw us coming and they weren't ready to eat because they were out there eating. They were like, hey, are we going?
They thought we were going, yeah.
Yeah, we're ready to ride. Let's go. So definitely check out War Horses for Veterans. Thank you guys for listening. Kevin, go ahead and wrap us up.
Thank you guys as always. And if you have any questions or anything, definitely let us know. Support@muddyrivertactical.com. And until next time, keep practicing and always be prepared.